Hey everybody, Nick Lander here with Ben.
Hello,
one
everyone.
Of our reviewers on the site. And today we're going to talk about the ending of Firewatch. If you've read Ben's review yet, or if you haven't read his review yet, the ending was a little bit disappointing in some ways.
Yeah.
Or maybe you really liked it. It's up to you. But today we're just going to talk about our thoughts on the ending of the game and kind of what led up to that ending and why it was a disappointment. So I'll let Ben start off and give him his opinion on the ending.
Well, a cliffhanger ending is always good when it's executed properly. There's a lot of books that end with a cliffhanger, but there's got to be enough of an execution within the narration and the storytelling for that cliffhanger to really be poignant. And, the whole time Henry and Delilah, it's kind of like this conversation that is going to apex eventually. And the way it ended, you never had that fulfillment, and that's why in the review I mentioned I kind of left the game unfulfilled, because there's this lead up and it's ramping up and it feels like a crescendo, and you get in the helicopter and the ending scene rolls and you're just kind of like, what? You're left with your hands in the air. So
yeah, I don't know, when you get to that big twist, the twist almost seemed kind of out of place to me.
Which one? With the history of with Delilah and
no, where you find the boy's dead body.
Okay.
Like, I kind of saw that coming from like a mile away.
Right.
And then, honestly, the guy that killed him, I didn't even remember that name until they brought it up.
Exactly. I think that was part of the problem.
Mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, Delilah is talking to you on the phone or on the radio about this person that she interacted with, the kid, and it was kind of weird. You're like, why is she talking about this kid? Why is it so important to her? And it feels like the makers of Firewatch were trying to interject that and to make that really prominent, when you, as Henry, or just you as the player himself, you don't feel an attachment to that storyline because you didn't live it. You're living the storyline right now. That was something that happened to Lila in her past. So it was kind of what I call secondhand storytelling, and it was more of a detached feeling. So when you did come across that boy in the cave, the body, I mean, it had a little bit of an impact, but it just...
Yeah, I really didn't feel anything towards
right.
it. And I feel like the whole story was centered around, like, running away from your problems. Mm-hmm. And so, Henry running away from his wife...
Right.
Well, I guess her family took her away, but, like, he didn't fight to be by her side.
Right.
And then Delilah, with the boy, just didn't want to cause trouble, so she didn't call in that he was missing.
Exactly, yeah.
And then she regrets it. So I think I understood the point of the story overall, but it's just like the ending, like, maybe the ending is, maybe some things are better left unsaid.
Right.
Basically.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I got from it.
And if you've ever read like Stephen King novels, he really leaves a lot up to your imagination. And again, like the cliffhanger ending, that can be done very well and very effectively, leaving up to your imagination. But there wasn't a lot left to be made. I feel like the storyline should have climaxed with Delilah, because that was the main point of the storyline. You're sitting there, you're talking with her, but instead it climaxed with something in her past that wasn't exactly relevant to Henry as a character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where it kind of missed it. IGN even mentioned an anticlimactic ending. Almost every review I read, even including mine, mentioned that the ending was somewhat of a disappointment. So I think everyone felt it.
I kind of just went through the entire game wondering if I missed the bigger picture.
Right.
But I really don't think I did. I don't think there was that bigger picture. And like the ending, I don't know, it just, when I play narrative adventures like that, I'm always looking for, is there something here that I really need to pay attention to that, has a deeper meaning, has, substance, I guess. And maybe Firewatch's story, yeah, it has some of those complex themes and elements in there, but I think overall it was just it really was a basic mystery story.
Right, and almost
trying
like
to find
maybe in the, sorry to interrupt, but maybe in the part of them, they tried too hard to make it what you're mentioning. You're talking about how there's that twist or that ending that's leading up to, because a game that's focused on story narrative, you want that really poignant ending or that really good dialogue, which granted, Firewatch did have great dialogue.
Especially great.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the best game in terms of dialogue that at least it's up there. But if you look at BioShock Infinite, for example, the ending of that game, when everyone finished it, that's all you could talk about, because it was just, it was a mind, I don't know if we're allowed to swear here, but it screwed up your mind. So it's just, that's kind of what I was expecting from Firewatch.
Yeah. No, I think BioShock is the extreme, but I don't know. Some people are like, well, maybe Delilah wasn't even real or whatever. I think she was real, or I don't know, because I never understood, the helicopter is going to pick her up and then come back and get Henry while the forest is burning to the ground. Right,
exactly. And
that didn't make sense to me.
And I didn't do a second playthrough. I'm sure you and I probably picked different things to say to her, but I think no matter what you said to her there at the end, she was going to leave on her own. Yeah. And that's why, again, that's probably the reason why a lot of people found the ending anticlimactic. And also with the... I don't know. I lost my train of thought there. But, I don't know. I just... Her leaving alone, I think seeing her... again, back to the leaving it up to your imagination, you probably have a different image of Delilah in your brain than I do. So... maybe it was smart for the company and the developers the game creators not to put her in the game as, here's Delilah, because we all got different images of her and how she may look,
Well, she kind of just, culminated every decision she gave you, or every conversation gave you, 3 different options to choose from that all end up resulting in the same thing, no matter what you say, I think.
Right, yeah.
Maybe. It'd take a second playthrough to really figure that one out. But
to see if your choices make any difference. Because there were some things at the end where you could be mean to her, and, to bring up the boy's death, to blame it on her. I didn't choose that path. I chose the path to be subtle.
That's what I did.
So then we just picked the same thing, but maybe if you'd pick the mean part, something else would have happened. Still, I think the game in the end, though, it felt as though there were a lot of different directions and branching, divergent paths. I think it probably was pretty narrow and one direction in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering now that I'm thinking about some more. Is maybe Delilah is the polar opposite of his wife. Her mind's completely there.
Right.
And his regret for leaving his wife, maybe. But even then, like we said, with the same decisions you make, he could have stayed with his wife, but she would have forgotten who he was every day.
Right.
And so what it really was the point to stay, other than to cause pain to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Not saying that's a decision I would ever make, but just
right.
In that situation, what exactly would you do?
And that's one reason that I
lost in the woods.
Yeah, that I started with Henry, and I kind of thought that he was irresponsible in a way, because the beginning of the story, it's all text based in the beginning, pretty much. Besides intermittent forest trekking and stuff like that, and I think the metaphor was there, where an overarching metaphor, you're in the woods, you're kind of searching for a meaning. And that was Henry's life. He was in the woods. Could you see the forest from the trees? All that. But I don't know. I think with the ending, it didn't bring all that home. Instead, it kind of left a bunch of loose threads in every direction.
Technically, though, that's just how his life was.
Yeah. It was
what's he going back to? So you don't even know that. So.
Right.
It was interesting, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just one of those games that you think there might be a deeper meaning to. There probably is. Maybe it wasn't presented as well. Maybe other people are, getting it more than we are. But I think overall, that ending it just wasn't satisfying enough to tie everything together, or the mystery unfolds so quickly.
Right.
And that's where the pacing just oversteps itself, I think.
Exactly. Right when the mystery started and you get hit over the head, it was started a little bit before that. But I was like, okay, here we go. This is when the game's going to get good. And like you just said, and I mentioned in my review, it's very short-lived. So you don't, and you mentioned earlier about Delilah, was she even real? There's that Beautiful Mind aspect, if you've ever seen that movie, or, Fight Club, where,
yep.
Was he ever real to begin with? Are you facing your inner demons? Is it a reflection of yourself? All of those things. But they could have brought that home a little bit more. Again, I think this might be them trying to leave it up to your imagination and to figure out what happened in the end. Was Delilah real? I don't know. It's up to you.
Well, see, the main reason why I think she might not be real is because in that, it was probably first 45 minutes to an hour of the game where he's on the radio when he wakes up in the middle of the night and he thinks it's his wife.
Right, yeah.
And he's talking to Delilah that whole time, and she just didn't stop him from saying anything because she liked what she was hearing.
Right, yeah, good point. I actually forgot about that. Yeah, I thought at first, it was... You're right, that's kind of when you start to,
That's when you question everything after that. It's like, well, I don't even really know what's going on anymore, so I'm just going to keep playing.
Exactly, yeah. And then I knew, at that point that he was either dreaming or hallucinating or having a psychotic break, like you mentioned.
Because, how exactly was she calling on the
radio?
Yeah. There's it's not a phone number.
That's really lucid dreaming, so I don't know.
Well, that's all we really have to say about the ending, guys. Feel free to leave your interpretations in the comment section, and we'll be sure to follow up and comment back with you on that.
Well, Nick, we're going to have that story analysis for Firewatch.
Oh, that's right.
So I'll probably have that posted by Tuesday.
Cool.
So,
I'm looking forward to reading that.
So check that out.
But leave us in your interpretations of Firewatch in the comment section. I guess we probably should have mentioned at the beginning of this video. There's spoilers, so don't listen past this point, I guess.
No, it's too late. Sorry.
Yep. But all right, everybody, take it easy.
All right, thank you, guys.